Freedom Radio Hour. Live on Capital Radio 91.6 FM.
All right, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Freedom Radio Hour. I'm your host, Adam Cruz, and I'm here with my fantastic co-host,
Eddie Nicholas. What up, beautiful people, and welcome to another episode of the Freedom Radio Hour. We're going to jump right into it because we have so much to share with you.
We do.
You know,
it's one of those episodes.
Yes,
I love it.
Yes. What's
well,
going
first
on,
of all,
Adam?
I'm delighted to see you.
Good
Thank
to
you
see
for
you
coming
again,
and
of
enjoying
course.
ourselves here today. First, let's take a moment to let our listeners and our viewers know that the Freedom Radio Hour is here not only giving you fantastic music, but we're here to be your number one source for music, business, news, and trends from around the globe. We're live on Capital Radio 91.6 FM and on the web at dwmusicradio.com. Okay, we got to talk about it. Google Play is out. YouTube Remix is in. Do you know what YouTube Remix is?
I guess it's one of those places where you can gather all the music that you want to hear and just press one little button, everything that you share.
That sounds like
plays.
YouTube. So basically,
Is that it?
Well, yeah, it's basically
Okay.
that. What you have is YouTube's attempt in the 2018 to once again figure out whether they can win in the streaming wars game. What are we talking about? You see YouTube having the most action and the most visitors visiting their website for music and other content. They, by and large, you can view all that for free. If you go to youtube.com, you got to sit through an ad, but nobody cares.
Because you can skip it after about, 2 minutes, 2 seconds?
Not even, yeah. But YouTube wanting to really compete with streaming services like Spotify, worth $29 billion off the strength of not only advertisements, but also subscriber bases. So you have this global music report that came out that talks about 176 million people are subscribed to accounts. You know that YouTube wants to get a bite of that action. So they tried before, YouTube having this free channel and having so much action, they figured they could take a bite out of the competition by offering their own subscriber thing. They tried this thing called YouTube Red, which failed, I think, primarily because it seemed to be weird. It's like, can you get certain content on YouTube Red versus YouTube regular? In which case, most of the time, you could get it in both places. It wasn't really clear the difference, and it wasn't really clear that it was a win. Why would you pay for a service that if you could just go type in the other way, you get it for free?
That it basically spares you from watching ads.
Exactly. That really is all it is. It spares you from watching ads. And then they were trying to say, no. You can get only content here on YouTube Red at the time that you can't get at regular YouTube. But you and I, doing our quick little research, figured out that content that they were holding up as premium was really available everywhere else. All you had to do was search outside of the YouTube world, and it was readily available.
And I guess they can see something like the Queen Bee's recent performance at Coachella.
Yes.
What is it? Coachella?
Coachella, yeah.
Not the Coachella, but Coachella. At Coachella.
Yes.
Which, if I'm not mistaken, YouTube streamed live, which could have been something that would have been shown. You can get this on the YouTube Remix channel.
And also, it was like a test for them to say yet again, because they've been doing that for a while, yet again, we can galvanize the people to come to our business. Now we just got to get them to pay for something. So now they've launched YouTube Remix, and in effect, they have decided to end Google Play. Google Play is kind of like an app store, so you can search for different apps, buy them, and download them, like you can with the Freedom Radio Hour. We have an app as well, and that's free, available on Google Play. But now, because that's going to be pushed to the wayside, YouTube Remix is going to take up the forefront, and evidently you'll be able to, like you said, get it all in one place. YouTube has also done something else. Their direct competitor, if you will, in the music video game was really Vivo. Vivo came up and it was
Vivo Las Vegas.
I think that's Viva. Let's go with it.
Vivo.
But Vivo is owned by the three major labels, Sony, Warner, and Universal Music Group. And so they started that because they wanted to take a bite out of the YouTube popularity that was happening. Yes.
In its purest form. Yes.
So, but what's funny now is that just recently YouTube announced that they have basically taken the strength out of Vivo's advertising dollar, their advertising platform, remove that strength, and they're going to essentially be administering or handling the advertisements on Vivo. They're going to take a cut for that and then give Vivo the rest of that.
And for those of you that don't know, Vivo is type of like the format like a YouTube where you can upload your own video.
Yes, exactly.
You
can search for videos, upload your own, just like a YouTube YouTube. It's good that you cleared that up. Thank you. It's important to know that with Vivo, essentially their advertising strength being diminished and being pivoted out to YouTube, what you'll see as an end user is the same advertisements that you'll see. If you sit through a YouTube ad, you'll see it on Vivo now too, which up until now used to be separated out. It used to be its own lane, if you will. Now it's all going to be meshed together, which got me talking, man. We have to take a break, but when we come back, I want to talk about the effects of what you're seeing now, which is the music being leveraged in a way to really get people to pay into services. The services are being more advanced in terms of what they'll offer, but when you really break down all of the fluff, it's essentially the same things that you and I can find for free. So I wonder what the future of streaming is going to look like when you have the biggest advertiser in YouTube now becoming this sort of subscriber thing. You got to pay, because I always wondered when there will be a time when YouTube decides to turn that faucet off, meaning that you can no longer watch anything for free, and you'd have to pay for it.
We'll have to see, because remember Sound Exchange tried that.
See, I remember that now. See, I hadn't thought about that.
And I'm not sure whether or not how many customers that they have lost, but I haven't been back there in a while.
Right. Well, anyway, let's take a break, and when we come back, let's talk more about this music business
SoundCloud,
news.
not Sound Exchange.
Yes, I knew what you meant. SoundCloud. Let's come back and we'll talk more about this music business news right here on the Freedom Radio Hour, your number one source for music business news and trends from around the globe.
91.6 FM, the Heartbeat of Sudan.
Singer, songwriter, performer, and host Eddie Nicholas debuts his fantastic new album. Released in conjunction with mixtape sessions and Deck Music Imprint, Eddie brings you a 16-track album full of fantastic jams upon jams, perfect for any dance floor. The album includes records like Fall in Love, Goomba, and Reuben. Check out EddieNicholas.com and TrackSource for his brand new LP.
Freedom Radio Hour. Live on Capital Radio 91.6 FM.
What up, beautiful people, and welcome back to another session of 91.6 FM, the Heartbeat of the Sudan. You know, I'm just kind of mellow and happy to be back here.
Yes.
DWOW Music Radio and FreedomRadioHour.com.
Yes, I'm so delighted to see you again. You're deep in the zone right here on the Freedom Radio Hour. We're talking about it. What were we discussing in the last segment to bring us into this new segment? I think the overall point that if you're a DJ, a producer, a songwriter, an artist, pay attention, pay attention, because what you're witnessing and what you're experiencing, we both are arguing is a slow moving monopolization of the music, a slow moving consolidation of power. Where do you see that? Look no further than what YouTube's doing. YouTube been trying to start their YouTube remix. They're trying to take some of that subscription dollar away from their competition because they know they have the base that is more powerful than all of theirs. So all they want to do is figure out a better way to monetize that.
Get some of them dollars.
Exactly, because they figured out how to do it to become a juggernaut in terms of advertising, but now they need to do it on the subscription side, which up until now they've not been able to do. But what you're seeing is a consolidation of power. YouTube taking the advertising strength from their direct competition in Vivo. You're also seeing what's happening in the telecommunications world that is very, very important. The latest news around that, if you aren't aware, December of last year, net neutrality was repealed. That was the notion that all of the data transmitted on the internet was created equally, and that notion, that open internet order, was repealed. And so it's a slow process to actually cut off those valves to make those things work. And while that was happening, the states have been saying, no, you might do that on the federal level, but at the state level, we are reaffirming our commitment to net neutrality, right? So you're seeing that happen, but while this is all occurring, it's almost like in the middle of the night, these decisions sometimes happen. That you have major deals that are basically waiting for our current administration to either approve them or disapprove of them. What kind of deals are we talking? We're talking about huge mergers. Remember, we talked about Ajit Pai, the head of FCC, and his troubles around the possible merger of Sinclair Broadcasting and Tribune Media, right? Why? Because they were saying that the FCC had these real stringent rules, and so you have these huge companies that pay for access or do some sort of underhanded greasing of the palms.
The nice word is lobbying.
Yes, lobbying to have Ajit Pai and the FCC loosen those rules so that their merger could take place, right? So there's an investigation around that. Now you switch over to telecom, and you have to talk about the benefactors of the repeal of net neutrality, which include a company like AT&T. Now you remember AT&T.
Bell Telephone and AT&T decades ago. If you're old enough to remember that, then you old.
Yeah. Seasoned.
Thank you. Seasoned, yes. Seasoned.
Yes.
But here we are again.
Yes, and basically the short of a long is that it was a highly publicized split, if you will, AT&T and Bell Tower. And now
Telephone.
Bell Telephone.
Tower because they were towering back then.
Sorry. Yeah, see, now I'm showing my age, right? Anyway, what's happening now is AT&T is stepping into the political arena here in the States. There's a big hullabaloo around money that's come in to support campaigns and whether there's any violations around campaign finance laws, etc. So right now, it's all about paying attention to the contributions from the last campaign from our current administration. So AT&T has had to confirm that they paid over $200,000 to Trump's lawyer, Michael Cohen, for basically insights into the new administration. I think what was that word you used earlier? They were lobbying.
Lobbying, yes.
Why were they lobbying? Because AT&T is trying to merge with Time Warner and become their own juggernaut. But by doing it, they kind of monopolize the telecommunications industry by virtue of them merging. So what happened? Trump becomes president and is thoroughly opposed to this kind of deal happening. So they were paying the lawyer up until December. Trump makes the announcements that he's opposing the deal in November. So they stopped those payments after. So that's proof, in my estimation, that they were definitely lobbying. And when they figured they weren't their fruits were not going to was not going to manifest,
cut it.
They cut it. So now,
and and that's the truth. There is no way that I can see AT&T basically palming this man's hands.
But not past this, not if they're not going to get something out of that, which was going to be the approval of this merger, which didn't happen.
And that makes me sound like, oh, I can do this for you.
And I guess the reason why we're bringing up politics on a music business show, why? Because this has everything to do with how the data is transmitted on the internet and how that affects people's ability to enjoy the music that we create.
Exactly.
What we're experiencing now, and you need to pay attention to this too, I argue, is the diminishment of other formats of music consumption. What do I mean? Right now, even though we have vinyl and CD and digital downloads, we're seeing a slow-moving...
Don't forget cassette tape.
Cassette tape, yep, I know, right? We're seeing a slow-moving sort of... it's going to dissipate over time. In other words, there's only going to be one mode of music consumption in the future. Because if you look at every article around streaming music today, they're all puffing their chests and they're all bragging about how the music industry has been quote-unquote saved by streaming media, in particular streaming music. And I don't know whether I agree with the term saved or not. I think that we are still ignoring the big elephant in the room in our industry, which is there's too much of these deals that are secret. There's NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, so we're never going to know the real insides of why we're getting paid so little or why it's taking so long for us artists to get paid.
And them saying that they're streamlining everything. Again, with the streamlining, nothing is still trickling down that...
Well, certainly not fast enough and not clearly enough.
That shows a reflection of what the artist share is.
Well, on the strength of streamlining, let's take a break and come back, and we're going to talk about what this Music Modernization Act is going to do in the name of streamlining music business somehow. We'll figure it out on the way back.
91.6 FM, the heartbeat of Sudan.
Yes.
Oh, I'm forgetting, DY Music Radio.
I know there's a lot to remember. Come back with us.
Yeah,
we'll
come on back.
Mixtape Sessions is proud to present singer, songwriter, actor, and Mixtape Sessions recording artist Jacqueline Graham. Produced by DJ and label head Adam Cruz, the Jacqueline plea includes Inside My Head and You Showed Me Your Love. Check out Jacqueline Graham and the Jacqueline EP, available to stream everywhere now. Mixtape Sessions, music for the people.
Freedom Radio Hour.
And we're back live on Capital Radio, 91.6 FM, the Heartbeat of Sudan, and on the web at dwmusicradio.com. You tuned in to the Freedom Radio Hour, your number one source for music business news and trends from around the globe. I'm sitting here with my fantastic partner,
Eddie Nicholas. What up, beautiful people, and welcome back. We're going to jump right into it because we have so much, and we're getting ready to come to the finish line of this episode. What's going on?
Well, in the name of streamlining, like you talked about in the last segment, we had to talk about this Music Modernization Act that just passed the House. In short, the Music Modernization Act is finally an attempt to update all the language around music and how we get paid in terms of royalty. They're also finally accounting for other creatives on songs like the engineer, the mixer, and other folks that are deliberately touching the music in some way, that they too are now going to be able to claim some of that royalty income through this Music Modernization Act. And it does other things as well. One thing in particular, though, in the name of streamlining, I wanted you to know about. They're starting their own organization called the MLC. That's the Mechanical License Collective.
Okay.
And I have my phone here. I had to read it because there's quite a lot of information about it. But in short, the Music Modernization Act, while it updates the language and it basically improves the way that we see payments coming out in terms of royalties, somebody's got to organize that. So my number one thought is, why aren't they pivoting towards the current organizations that handle, say, performance royalties, like ASCAP, BMI, or Sound Exchange?
And I was getting ready to say, they better have a member sitting at the table.
Well, it looks like as a result of this, all they're saying right now is the MLC. This is a new copyright licensing organization. It will create and maintain the world's most...
By the federal government?
Yes. The MLC will be a thorough database of music composition copyrights and their owners. Collect mechanical royalties from digital music streaming services and transmit those royalties to copyright holders based on ownership claims set forth in the database.
Okay, but again, people always keep trying to reinvent the wheel. Why can't they just embed that into the copyrights that people are already submitting?
Well, they're saying that they're going to be working in conjunction with the Copyright Office.
Okay, good. But why create another organization? Why can't that just be implemented as one of the functions that the Copyright Office does?
Well, this is what they're saying. At the moment, digital streaming services file a notice of intention with the Copyright Office whenever they stream a song, and for whatever reason, cannot track down the copyright owner. This was initially considered more efficient than forcing music users to track down unknown copyright holders. However, with the advent of digital music services which stream millions of songs, the Copyright Office has been inundated with countless NOI filings, that's that notice of intention, all of which represent mechanical royalty payments that song owners will never see. Because they're basically saying, we're having a hard time finding the copyright owners. And since y'all don't want to have the owners to look up and determine who those copyright owners are, we have to develop a way in which you can process that.
Okay. But again, I just think it's going to be another whole bunch
listen,
of red
we have
tape
to talk
go
about
through
it. That's a great
and all
point.
of that. But
it's too much.
Yes, it's way too much.
Think about it. You have Sound Exchange. You have that they collect digital performance royalties. You have ASCAP, BMI, or CSAC. They collect performance royalties. Okay, so now you're starting to say, okay, there's a difference there. Then you have your own, when you put out...
And by virtue of technology, those three organizations are eventually going to have to start tracking and collecting digital performances and digital...
Well, evidently they do, which is why I'm more perplexed than ever before why this MLC wouldn't have been just lopped into or folded into a current database structure. And if it meant funding for improvements on the way that we see the data, then so be it. It costs money. So I'm concerned that we're, like you said, we're basically creating another thing for us to all have to update when they could just fold it into something else. I argue, but we're obviously missing a key element here, which is the Copyright Office, they're saying, is inundated with all these filings now, with all these songs being streamed. So they need a better way to handle the gaps in information, because otherwise they're not paying out when they don't know who to pay. That's what they're saying. So I'm like, okay, I understand that. That's a step forward. But I think that this is yet another thing to remember, and we're completely ignoring that. And the wider world, all of this is coming together into one or two entities.
Just to get a few pennies.
Yes.
You know, I mean, my goodness, if you were giving me 50% or almost 60% of my creativity, my creative work, and my music and all that type of stuff, then it's all about getting all that stuff filed and all that stuff, because you would truly see the profits of your fruits.
And it's hard to complain when I know the answer, but I want to complain on the fact that, like, the wider world has figured out easily to take our money.
Yes, take your money.
They know how to take it forward and backwards.
No, not take your money, take your talent.
No, what I mean is, if you're a user, these wider companies like the YouTubes and Spotify's of the world have figured out how to take your money, your $10 a month.
Oh, yes.
Your advertising, whatever, they're taking their money, and they figured it out quite effectively. Why is it that our own agencies that's supposed to be fighting for our best rights or our best interests often take the longest time to do very basic things?
And they should be the ones that are on the top of the field and at the table.
Well, I think
at the table.
And I think also the other thing is that we're ignoring, I think, that basically technology companies have always had the most power. And so they're not sharing that power with the labels like we thought they would have, and we're letting them figure it out. And what we're doing, we're going to be left in the dark, and the proof is in the pudding, which is streaming is going to be here to stay. And as long as that there's an internet connection, people are going to want to have access to that content.
And soon as they're doing now, you won't even need that. It's going to be all in the air, which it is now.
But what you're seeing is a push-pull around these two things. Conglomerates that own that internet connection, and conglomerates that own the music, the way you see the music. What do you think is going to happen over time, I argue? You know, you got to think about that. Anyway, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us for the Freedom Radio Hour. Take a minute and enjoy the Eddie Nicholas Do You Want to Dance LP, available right now everywhere. Also, check out DJAdamCruz.com for more of my fantastic music, and I have a new edit that I've given out for free, so check out the website for that. Also, download our free app. You can search us out at Google Play while it's still there. I guess you'll have to
end up with the remix.
Yeah, you'll have to search us out for remixes. We always do remixes anyway, so. Also, search us out. We have our app available within the App Store as well. And of course, dwopmusicradio.com and 91.6 FM are our partner stations. We shout you out always. Have a great weekend and a great week ahead. We'll see you next time.
Peace and love. 91.6 FM, the Heartbeat of Sudan. Bye.